After Denmark's defeat in the Second Schleswig War in 1864, Jan Jensen and his younger brother Peter leave their war-torn homeland and travel across the Atlantic Ocean to America, hoping to start over. For 7 long years, they work hard to build a new life in a strange and unfamiliar land. During all this time, John misses his wife, Marie, and their young son, Creston, who stayed behind in Denmark. Being away from his family for so many years has left a deep hole in John's heart. The year is now 1871. John and Peter are standing at a train station in the American frontier, waiting excitedly. At last, John is about to be reunited with his beloved family. Soon, he sees Marie and Creston stepping off the train, both smiling brightly. Little Creston greets his father, and there is a deep love and care between the couple. John then proudly introduces them to Peter, and together, they begin their journey back home. Peter tells John that he has some business to take care of in town, and will stay behind for a little while.
Hello.
Ma'am, my wife doesn't speak the language. She will learn.
The moment is interrupted when the couple setting parallel is ordered out and replaced by 2 tough, dangerous-looking men. One of them is Paul Delarue, the brother of Henry Delarue, a notorious gang leader. Paul has just been released from prison, and the look in his eyes is anything but friendly. From this point on, everything begins to spiral out of control. That evening, while Paul and his partner are dozing off, a gentle moment takes place inside the stagecoach. John is teaching Creston about the local animals and talking about future hunting trips. But the calm doesn't last. Paul suddenly starts talking to Marie and offers her a drink. When she refuses, the conversation quickly becomes more uncomfortable. Since Marie doesn't speak English, John quietly advises her in Danish to accept the drink out of politeness. She does so, hoping it will keep things peaceful.
You ain't got a hell of a lot to say, do you? My own princess, she don't talk at all. I suppose they got tired of hearing her scream after they killed her parents. What is your name?
My wife's name is Marie.
He starts flirting with Marie in a way that makes John very uneasy. Paul reaches for Marie's dress, trying to touch her. John warns him to stop. The second man pulls a gun on John, trying to keep him quiet.
What are you gonna do about it?
Come here!
Can't do a goddamn thing.
I'm still!
John, trying to protect his family, whispers in Danish to Marie, telling her to bite Paul's ear. She does, and in the confusion, John quickly grabs the thug's gun. Holding the weapon now, John fights to take control of the situation. He urges his son to pick up the other gangster's gun, but Paul takes advantage of the chaos. He grabs Creston and puts a knife to the boy's neck. Paul orders John to get off the stagecoach or he'll kill his family. John tries to say something to Marie, but one of the men kicks him out. Eventually, he finds Creston's lifeless body lying by the roadside. Heartbroken, John collapses, holding his son and crying. Slowly, he picks up the boy's body and walks away. Further down the road, he finds the stagecoach stopped. John gently sets Creston's body down and walks up to the dead coachman, taking his gun. Using his old soldier skills, he fires a shot to startle the horses, then carefully aims at the gangsters. He quickly kills one of them and chases after Paul, who is trying to run away. Paul begs for his life, claiming he didn't hurt anyone.
Wait! I didn't touch the boy!
The next morning, Peter arrives. He had noticed unusual horses around and came to investigate. He finds John crying over the bodies of Marie and Creston. Peter tries to comfort his brother. John tells him that he didn't know the men who did this. The 2 brothers hug, both deeply grieving, and now all they have left is each other. The scene then shifts to a dusty town in the Wild West. A group of armed men on horseback ride into town like they own it. They are led by Henry Delarue, a ruthless former Union Army colonel known for his brutal fights against Native Americans. He gets off his horse and approaches Mayor Nathan Keene, who also acts as the town's priest and undertaker. Delarue is angry. He demands answers about 2 dead men found nearby. Mayor Keene, visibly nervous, assures him that no one in town had anything to do with it. What the mayor and townspeople don't yet realize is that one of the dead men is Delarue's brother, Paul.
Make sure he doesn't stink of booze when the princess sees him. Take him there. Did you catch the killer?
Finally, Delarue speaks. He gives them until noon to find the killer, or he'll kill 2 innocent townspeople as punishment. Quoting the Bible, he promises revenge. To make his point clear, he says that if the mayor doesn't choose the victims, he'll kill 4 instead of 2. Soon, Mrs. Borowski, an elderly woman who owns the gun shop, and a legless man are to be picked to be his victims.
I am ready, Father.
The whole town will always be grateful to you.
I'm not sure I can make it without you, Grandma.
Of course you can, my boy.
Delarue shoots the disabled man without hesitation. As Wojciech, Mrs. Borowski's grandson, cries beside her, she bravely prays for Delarue's evil soul, but he kills her too, without showing any mercy. Still not satisfied, he kills a 3rd innocent person in front of his own wife, showing no remorse for his actions. Sheriff Malik tells the townspeople not to interfere and be calmed. Everyone seems powerless against Delarue, who demands more protection money and raises the prices.
Seems to me you're gonna need more protection with the killer around. $160 due at the end of the month, every month. Are we in agreement?
Yes.
Later, at Paul's burial, his widowed sister-in-law, Madeleine, who is mute, stands by the grave. Delarue offers her cold and empty words of comfort. At the same time, John and Peter bury Marie and Creston, filled with sorrow and a growing need for revenge. The brothers decide to leave and head west. Known for their excellent shooting skills, they attract attention. Some townspeople suspect they may have been involved in Paul's death. When they reach Black Creek, someone tips off the sheriff.
Good day to you. Where's your grandmother?
Delarue shot her. And we could use people like you if we're ever gonna face that murder.
Don't get into a fight. You know you're gonna lose.
Meanwhile, John tries to sell his land to Mayor Keene. The mayor offers only half the amount John originally paid, blaming Delarue's new taxes and rising threats. John then realizes that the man he killed was Paul Delarue. With no other options, John agrees to sell for the low price. Keene advises him to hide the money in his boot for safety.
There's a lot of hungry people out there.
Around the same time, Delarue and Madeleine, aka the Princess, meet with businessmen from the Standard Atlantic Oil Company. They hand Delarue a bundle of money and warn him to be careful with his violent actions. They reveal that the federal government has cut off Black Creek, leaving Sheriff Malik without help. The company's goal is to buy up all the land in the area because of its oil-rich soil, and they want Delarue to take control by force. Soon after, Peter is arrested as well, but not before putting up a fight. Sheriff Malik later sits down with John for a serious talk.
Let Pete run. Malik.
He broke a deputy marshal's jaw. Oh, I'm sorry for your loss, John.
I won't be the last man Delarue's going to kill around here.
But your death's gonna buy us some time.
The sheriff urges John to turn himself in, saying his death might buy the town enough time for the federal government to send help. At sunrise the following day, the air was dry and heavy with silence as the sheriff handed John over to Delarue's gang. Before they dragged him away, Delarue's right-hand man gave John a harsh punch to the face, as if adding insult to injury. John was then bound tightly to a rough wooden post outside Delarue's headquarters, left exposed under the scorching sun. When Delarue arrived with Madeleine, his late brother's mute widow, John wasted no time. With pain and fury in his voice, he told her that her so-called husband had murdered his child and assaulted his wife, but Delarue didn't let him finish. He silenced John with a brutal punch, making it clear he had no intention of listening.
We will soon find out what you're made of, soldier.
His plan was simple and cruel. Leave John tied up without food or water to slowly suffer and die in the unbearable heat. As the day dragged on, the sun burned overhead, and vultures began circling above. Just when it seemed things couldn't get worse, Mayor Keene arrived. At first it seemed like he might help, but instead, he stole John's boots and hidden money. Then, with a smirk and unsettling familiarity, he greeted Delarue by his first name, revealing their alliance. Meanwhile, back at the jailhouse, Sheriff Malik was away at church, and Peter, John's brother, was preparing to escape. Unlike John, Peter was more cunning in these moments. He carefully provoked the deputy guarding him, using sharp words to spark anger.
Got you pretty good, didn't I? Hope you have a woman that loves you. Of course, you ain't gonna find one with that face. But it's gonna cost you extra now. That's for sure.
Shut up!
Now you don't just sound like a sick mule, you look like one too.
When the moment was right, he knocked the man out and broke free. Back at Delarue's hideout, it became clear that Delarue wasn't mourning Paul's death. In fact, he seemed to view Paul's widow, Madeleine, as his property now. He forced her into bed despite the bruises on her face and the fear in her eyes. Her injuries spoke louder than words. This was not a relationship of love. Delarue promised her a future as the Queen of New Orleans, but it was a future she clearly didn't want. Later that night, rain poured down as John remained tied to the post, weak and soaked, but help came at last. As they made their escape, they encountered 2 more gang members, and Peter quickly shot them down. Their escape did not go unnoticed. Delarue's men mounted horses and gave chase. John, weakened from exposure, couldn't hold on and fell from his horse. Thinking quickly, Peter hid him behind a large rock, claiming they are not going to stop the chase anyway. Being the brave man he is, he used himself as bait to draw the gang away. When John awoke the next morning, he was dehydrated and desperate. He stumbled toward a puddle and drank the filthy water greedily. But his relief turned to horror when he spotted one of Delarue's men dragging Peter's lifeless body behind a horse. Back at Delarue's base, the safe was empty, and Madeleine had vanished. She had taken the oil money and escaped to the train station. Standing by the train with a heavy bag of cash, she looked anxiously around, hoping to leave it all behind. Delarue slapped her hard, but she didn't stay silent. She spit the blood back to his face. Though Delarue wanted to kill her immediately, his right-hand man suggested she might still be useful. Her life was spared for now. Meanwhile, John wandered through the dry land near Black Creek until he stumbled upon Mrs. Whistler, a tough, armed landowner. She fired warning shots as he approached her well. John, desperate and parched, ignored the gunshots and pressed on. But the well was filled with thick black crude oil, not water. Once she recognized John, she lowered her gun and invited him in, giving him food and clean water. Mrs. Whistler had also lost someone to Delarue's violence, her husband. That night, John went to Mayor Keene's home, gun in hand. He forced the trembling mayor to return his boots and stolen money. As John interrogated him, he learned the mayor had also bought Mrs. Whistler's land. When John pushed harder, Keene tried to lie, but John ordered him to place himself in an open coffin, terrifying him.
You called him Henry.
I'm an undertaker.
Get him.
Oh, I'm a businessman.
You're not even a man.
Finally, Keene confessed he had handed over land deeds to Delarue, helping him take over the town. Afterward, John visited Mrs. Whistler's old store, now managed by her grandson, Wojciech. John gathered supplies, including ammunition and flammable liquids. He urged Wojciech to inform Sheriff Malik about the corrupt partnership between Delarue and Keene.
It's that sticky oil. Delarue believes it will soon be worth thousands.
Let me come.
You're just a kid.
I've been practicing my shooting. I'm not a bad shot.
The following morning, John set his plan in motion. He placed Mayor Keene's body inside a coffin as a decoy. Delarue opened it, shocked, and ordered his men to burn it. At the same time, Wojciech started a bonfire to draw more attention. Then, hidden behind cover, he began shooting. Wojciech, proving himself brave, climbed to a rooftop with more flammable supplies. But the creaking wood alerted a thug below. The man found Madeline bound upstairs. Wojciech wounded his aim with a shot, but this thug downstairs retaliated and killed the boy. As the killer gloated, he lit a cigarette, unaware that spilled fuel had soaked the floor. Hearing the commotion, John rushed toward the flames. He saw the thug dragging Madeline out. With precise aim, John shot him in the leg, sending him falling. However, as John stepped into the open, he made a critical mistake she shouldn't have made. He had forgotten about Delarue. The gang leader shot John, knocking him to the ground. Standing over him, Delarue mocked John for being stronger than expected. But before he could finish the job, Madeline appeared.
You sure as hell.
After the gunfire, John and Madeline pointed weapons at each other. For a tense moment, they stood frozen, but then, silently, they lowered their guns. They had both lost so much and now shared a single enemy. Just then, Sheriff Malik arrived with backup. He thanked John for saving the town, but tensed up when he saw Madeline. John stood firm, declaring that she was under his protection. Faced with no choice, Malik backed down. As peace settled in, the silent man and the quiet woman, John and Madeline, mounted their horses and rode off together, beginning a new chapter in their lives, bound by loss, justice, and survival.